first of all, I wanted to ask another Mentimeter question. So if you still have Mentimeter up, just want to know how much experience people have with Twilio. And you should be able to answer.
The Mentimeter link is still at the top of the chat.
Yeah, does anybody need the Mentimeter link again? Brandon can repost it. People who joined late. Okay, so still getting some answers, mostly none, just a little some. Okay, cool. All right, well, Twilio is a really cool tool. It's basically a communication, cloud communication. So it's a set of APIs that let you connect via voice, messaging, WhatsApp, email, and I think there's even a few. There's quite a bit that it can do. But in terms of Claris Connect, I wanted to look at the different connectors, triggers, and actions that we can do strictly in Claris Connect natively. Another thing, so when you set up your Twilio account, you get a free trial. There is some, pricing. Let me go to my account here. So you get like a little, I don't know exactly how much money they give you by default, but there's kind of a pay as you go model or pay monthly for Twilio to connect and to make phone calls, send SMS. And that's what I was showing on the pricing page a little bit. So you can see here, so for voice calls, it starts at 0.0085 cents a minute, messaging. So it's pretty, depending on the number of messages and calls and what you plan to do with it. But when you sign up for a trial account, they give you a balance and just for testing with, you also, I already did this step, so I can't show it, but you select a phone number. You can select an additional phone number, but this is our phone number for our trial. And that's an important part, and that's kind of how Twilio works together. So they maintain kind of an inventory of phone numbers. So you can buy phone numbers here through, I guess, I need more phone numbers, so you can upgrade or buy, you can purchase more. And that's what they use to connect the APIs. If you're using a trial account and you want to test calling or texting phone numbers, you have to set up the phone number you want to call as a verified number. So you would go over here, and I just put my cell phone in there. So I added it as a verified number. So that's just an important piece. If you're going to use Twilio and you're going to set up a trial account, you have to do these couple of things. So that is the basics in getting started with Twilio. And then when it comes to the triggers and actions, the most useful I see is the SMS or MMS. So for this one, I set up, this is a flow. There's actually two flows, but the first is I'm going to send a message from my FileMaker database, send an SMS message using Twilio. And then the second is like receiving a response. So I'm just going to demonstrate it. These are both enabled. Yeah. Okay. So let's just test it out real quick. So here, hi, this is sending it to my cell phone. And I'm not showing my phone, but hopefully, yeah, I got the message. And then let me just respond here. And my response should come up there. So I'm just having in my flow, you can just see the records coming through. So this is kind of, the two flows that are flowing. So we have the send message to Twilio and receive. And when you, let's start with send. When you send, the fields are the text message, who you're going to send it to, what phone number you want it to come from, and then you can also attach an image if you want. And then to receive it, this is the call, this is the trigger coming from Twilio when a new message is received. Then the fields I get are, where it came from, and then what the message said. And that's basically it. But this is how you would create, if you wanted to create a simple messaging, you'd have two separate flows and you'd have to and from. And the other actions, you can send a fax. I did not test this one out. I just kind of dummied it up. And I did want to let you know that the fax API, Twilio's fax API, looks like it will be sunset later this year. So I imagine this action will probably go away. Hopefully it will be replaced with one of the other, which look like more powerful APIs from Twilio, like the email or video calls, because Twilio is a very robust system. And I think if it could have some more connectors like that available, that would be really great. But so I can't really demo this one, but if you were going to use this to send a fax, the fields you'd get are, who the phone number is from, what phone number it's to. You can attach or a PDF from a URL, the quality, and then the callback URL. So if you wanted, this could be a webhook to another flow. So if you wanted when the fax is complete for it to trigger another flow, you could put a webhook here. And that's sending a fax. Incoming call. So this one's interesting. And I had a little bit of trouble setting this one up. So if an incoming call comes, this is to my Twilio phone number, I can trigger a flow. But what I found a little bit counterintuitive about this is, well, first of all, the instructions here are to go to your phone numbers page and put it in the status callback URL field. And at first, let me see if I can, where are my phone numbers? So at first I put it in the wrong field because I'll show you. When you look at your phone number settings, so this is about voice and fax. At first I put it here when a call comes in, and I put the URL here, and this was the wrong place to put it. The instructions are to put it here in the call status changes. So that's where you have to put the webhook URL. But also what Twilio expects, so to get like a programmable voice response, so if you want, when a call comes in, you want it to say, hi, Jerry, here's your, how are you, or something, you have to program that in their, format, which uses XML. And so I didn't know, I don't think there's a way we can't respond with XML. We can only respond with JSON using Claris Connect. So there was kind of a, I didn't know how exactly I would put this one into place, because right now, if I call this phone number, basically what happens is it just says, I get the automated message, you have a trial account, and then it just hangs up. And it has triggered the flow, but there's no actual response there. So I would have to consider how to use this one, and maybe somebody has experience doing that with programming voice calls, responses in Twilio and Claris Connect. And the fields that you do get back from your incoming call will just be the status of it and and who the call is from. And then we've also got outgoing call complete. This is similar to incoming call, and you put the URL in the same field in that status callback URL. So if, yeah, and this one I also had trouble getting it to work properly because that's, yeah, it's missing that component about being able to respond with what Twilio expects. So those are all of the actions and triggers. There was one more interesting. Twilio has an error debugging capture, which I thought was kind of useful. So if a new error occurs in Twilio, then now I'm trying to remember where to set this up. I can put a webhook in there. So if an error occurs, it's going to call that URL. And so then I did think that was useful. So you could set up a flow that's just going to, anytime a Twilio error occurs, it's going to capture it, and then you can do whatever you want with that. So that was something, doesn't have to do with one of the Twilio actions, but has to do with the Twilio setup. Yeah, so that's my overview of working with Twilio. Any questions I can answer?